Hey, you know how they say it's not nice to kick someone while they're down? Well, in the case of the Edmonton Oilers, I actually did want you to kick them while they're down. The Washington Capitals, too nice for their own good. What's up, Caps fans? I actually want to do something a little different today for today's post-game video because yes, while it is true that we could talk about the game that just unfolded, we could talk about the fact that the Edmonton Oilers' first 2 goals in this hockey game probably shouldn't even have counted. We could talk about that. Their first alleged goal, okay, I am going to call them alleged goals because I actually am pretty sure that both of these first 2 goals, like I said, shouldn't have counted. But yeah, their first alleged goal was pretty clearly goaltender interference. We have seen the Washington Capitals having goals of their own taken off of the board this season for far less than that, okay? But if you're the Caps here, like if you're Spencer Carberry right here, what are you supposed to do here? Like, there's no point to challenge the goal call, right? There's no point. Like, the Washington Capitals are 0 for 7. 0 for 7 in coach's challenge scenarios this season coming into this game, okay? So we haven't gotten a goaltender interference call going in our favor all season here. So it's probably not going to change now. Challenge the goal call? No thanks. Are you kidding me? Like, there's no point. No point. And listen, I do understand very much so that a lot of people wanted the coaching staff to give that a go here, throw out a challenge and see what happens. But you are only down 1-0 at that point in the hockey game. You're 0 for 7 in coach's challenge scenarios so far this season. So you don't want to give Edmonton's power play a free opportunity here, right? When the call inevitably doesn't go your way once again. But Edmonton's second alleged goal in this hockey game, okay, take everything that I just said and throw it out the window, okay? Throw it out the window over there. Because for this one, like, of course you are going to challenge this goal call here because this is one of the most obvious ones that you can have in terms of a goal that should obviously be called back upon replay, as it's not subjective, right? It's a black and white call, a true layup really for the officials here to get this one right, as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' stick is a good full foot above the crossbar as he whacks this puck into the net. So clearly it is a high stick and it shouldn't count. Anyone with eyeballs can see that. And as far as I know, the gift of sight is still a requirement for NHL referees. However, the Caps coaching staff does issue a coach's challenge on the play, but somehow the officials still manage to get this call wrong once again. And so your Washington Capitals are now a league leading 0 for 8. 0 for 8 in coach's challenge scenarios this season. Unfucking believable. And you know what? While we're on the subject of officiating here, we should also talk about Mattias Ekholm's dirty, very high hit on TJ Oshie, who did not even have the puck at the time that this hit was laid on him, by the way. So that's a problem. So he was totally unsuspecting. You're never expecting to get hit in this league when you don't have the puck on your stick, or if you haven't at least just released the puck off of your stick, as that is actually illegal, believe it or not. It's called interference and it is supposed to be a penalty. Hey ref, maybe you might want to look that one up for future reference. I don't know. TJ Oshie, who has had several concussions before in the past, he appeared to be out cold here for a moment on the ice. He appeared to be extremely dazed and confused as he tried to make his way off of the ice as well. Clearly quite injured, had to obviously leave the game and would not return. And we know now as well that he also will not be joining the Caps on their upcoming road trip to California. So that's not good news, obviously. From an officiating standpoint, call it a headshot, call it interference, call it whatever you want, but you have to call it something. The fact that they ended up calling nothing at all here on this play from Mattias Ekholm is quite frankly disgusting. It is. It's disgusting. And to be honest, folks, if TJ Oshie does indeed have another concussion here, which I think unfortunately it's probably safe to assume that he does, then it might be time to start thinking about having a really tough conversation here. because I don't want TJ, and I know we all don't want TJ, because you know what? He's a really genuinely nice guy, right? He really is. Like, he really is a really good guy. He has a wife and kids and people who love him. And so I don't want TJ to end up drooling into a cup by the time he's 50 years old. I do not want that. And yes, we all love the team, right? And he is an important part of the team, and he's an important part of the success of the team. But you know what's more important than all of that? TJ Oshie's life is more important than all of that. It just is, right? So while it would definitely suck in the moment to lose him in the lineup, it would suck a lot more if his quality of life a few years down the road is shit because he took one too many hard knocks to the head, right? That's all I'm saying. So something to think about. It might be time. Okay, I've just got one more here to finish off on the officiating, and that is, how in the hell does Tom Wilson get attacked by 3 Oilers players after the whistle, and Wilson somehow gets the penalty? Like, the only penalty out of that whole entire situation goes to Tom Wilson. And for what, I have absolutely no idea. I believe they called it roughing, to which I'd say, yeah, I'm going to get a bit rough too if 3 guys attack me. Like, what do you want from Tom Wilson in that scenario, Stripes? Like, he's not a monk. Anyway, the Oilers, they would score on the ensuing power play. And for the game as a whole, the Oilers would get 3 power play goals. 3 of them. So that's nice. You know, we all get by with a little help from our friends, and the Oilers certainly got a lot of help from their friends in Stripes today. Heartwarming stuff. Okay, so I guess we did talk about the hockey game a little bit, but that's okay. You know, it is a post-game show. But as I said earlier, even though I did get off track for a minute here, I did and I do want to do something a little bit different here today, because you guys, we really need to have a serious chat about the Edmonton Oilers. Well, for Oilers fans, it's serious. For the rest of us, it's free theater and very entertaining. Like, I literally have not stopped laughing since they got blown out 8-1 by the Vancouver Canucks on opening night, and it's only gotten better from there, truly. But yeah, I mean, the Edmonton Oilers right now, like, this is the biggest shipwreck right now since the Titanic. Like, no question. What can you say? I mean, this is a no-holds-barred, unmitigated disaster. A complete shit show. We can obviously start in net, right? It is the most important position on the ice, so it's a good place to start. And how do I say this nicely? I'm lost for words here. How do I say this nicely? Okay. Stuart Skinner and Jack Campbell, who's now in the American Hockey League, by the way, $5 million a season, 5 years, $25 million contract. He's in the American Hockey League. So Stuart Skinner and Jack Campbell, you know, they have both been complete and utter train wrecks here for the Edmonton Oilers. Oh, Janae, I thought you said you were going to say it nicely. That is saying it nicely. That is saying it nicely. And then we move along to their defense, right? Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard, Dumb and Dumber. Great stuff. And hey, listen, I have got a news flash here for you. If your most reliable defenseman has been Cody fucking Ceci, you might have a problem here, bud. And then, of course, there's the two-headed elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about right now, which is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and the fact that they largely haven't been good this season. And like, I'm not just to be clear, like, I'm not just talking like not putting up points at their normal pace. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is like the give a shit meter, right? Like, it's a give a shit meter right now that has looked far too low on far too many nights for 2 of the highest paid players in the league. They fired the coach, right? Because the players don't want to put in any effort on the ice. But losing every one-on-one battle Every one-on-one battle is a player problem, not a coaching problem. And somewhere right now, like Jay Woodcroft has got his feet up on a beach somewhere right now, right? Margarita in hand, laughing his ass off, not a care in the world. Like, I have watched a lot of Edmonton Oilers hockey games this season, you guys. And they are bad. Like, the Edmonton Oilers are bad. They're a bad hockey team. They're not good. And so our Caps certainly should have been able to find a way to win this game, turkey belly or not. And for the Edmonton Oilers part, like, they should be dead right now. They should be dead right now. They should be Deadmonton. Like, that's why I titled the video Deadmonton, right? Because they should be dead, they should be gone, but they are not quite dead yet because the Western Conference is so fucking bad, so bad, that it's an embarrassment to the institution of hockey. Did you know that it is projected right now that it is going to take an estimated 98 standings points, 98 standings points to make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, while the cutoff line for playoffs in the Western Conference is projected to be 82 points. 82 fucking points, man, to make the playoffs in the West. That is pathetic. That means that there are probably going to be some 500 hockey clubs making the playoffs in the Western Conference. That is absolutely abysmal. That is unacceptable. No team with 82 fucking points should ever be allowed into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Ever! That is complete garbage! Like, come on. Like, let's just cut the shit already, Gary, all right? Let's just cut the shit and let's just go to 1 through 16 league-wide seeding the way that it should have been all along, right? Let's get the best teams in the league into the playoffs, no matter which conference they arbitrarily play in. And if that means that there's 12 teams from the Eastern Conference and only 4 teams from the Western Conference, so be it. Like, who cares, right? It doesn't matter which conference the teams play in. Like I said, arbitrarily. Hockey fans, guess what? We want to see the best teams in the league compete for the Stanley Cup. We don't want to watch some merry band of losers in the Western Conference who are tripping over their own feet all season, struggling to make a tape-to-tape pass in the first round, while a Carolina or a Tampa Bay or a New Jersey sits on the sidelines because they only had 97 points. The Western Conference as a whole, I'm sorry, it's complete and utter trash, okay? Stanley Cup for Las Vegas aside, Stanley Cup for Colorado aside, since those are 2 of the only actual good teams in the Western Conference. But seriously, like, do you know why probably it has been a Western Conference team winning these most recent 2 Stanley Cups after the Eastern Conference had a run of 5 of 6 Stanley Cup championships from 2016 to 2021? And this is to take nothing away from those 2 teams in Las Vegas and Colorado, but it's because, like, if you're in the Western Conference right now, you can basically have a cakewalk all the way to the Stanley Cup final, right? While 8 great teams, meanwhile, in the Eastern Conference completely beat the shit out of each other for 3 rounds. Like, seriously, like, the Eastern Conference playoffs is an all-out war. It's a complete fucking bloodbath. And if you're in the Western Conference, you can just sit there, you can just figure skate your way all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and then you can sit there rested, right? And you can wait for the totally battered and bloodied opponent that you're going to be getting out of the Eastern Conference, limping their way into the Stanley Cup final to meet you there. Sounds nice, doesn't it? The Eastern Conference is a war zone, okay? The Western Conference is a vacation. It's a vacation, okay? It's margaritas on the beach at sunset. Okay, I'm getting carried away here once again, as I always do, but all I am saying is nobody wants to watch a bunch of dog shit teams in the playoffs. So find a way to get the best teams in, no matter which conference they're from, because 82 points as a cutoff is fucking unacceptable. It's a fucking joke. All right, Caps fans, that's going to be it for me today. Geez, I don't normally shout quite that much. I'm going to have to find a lozenge or something. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below. If you didn't enjoy the video, you are probably an Edmonton Oilers fan, and for that, I am sorry. But if you enjoyed it, click on that subscribe button as well if you haven't already done so. We appreciate it so much. Until next time, babes, and as always, let's go Caps.